Hey guys, what's going on? Well, I just got my 15th Batwing in. I was real happy to get it. Uh, it's number 5 of the Ebonywood. There were only 5 Ebonywood Batswingers made in 2010. I have just gotten the 5th one. So now I've got all the Ebonywood Batswingers. It's been a long process, but it's been enjoyable to a point. To a point. There were a couple of them where there were hang-ups, and that's really my. You've got to be patient when you're collecting knives, but a couple of the knives were questionable as to whether I'd get them, and most people know what's going on, with that. But they're just beautiful pieces. This one's in dark horn, dagger blade, stamped. This is the Ebonywood. Ebony's a real dense, hard wood, and I think it's just a beautiful wood. It's almost like horn. By the way, when you fire a switchblade with a flush button, you've got to understand the mechanics of a switchblade. If you limp wrist it and hold it like a girl and fire it like a girl, and I don't mean that as a stab at anybody, literally. If you hold it limp, you're going to the blade's not going to fully engage, because there's a sear release, and that has to clear this. You've got a big heavy knife here, 1 ounce an inch. These knives are big, and anytime you work with a big blade and you've got a Swinguard, you've got steel to move. I mean, it's got a great spring on them. They fire so hard, but you can't hold it like a girl, because if you hold it like a girl, and I'll probably hold one like a girl, and it'll go to 3/4. You've got to mean it when you fire it. It's just that simple, because the inertia, you've got to fully depress this down. It's got to fully release. If you push that down slowly, it's going to release, but it's not going to release at full force. So fire them like you mean to. This one, okay, is this the Ebony? Yeah, this is the one. Yeah, this is the one I just got in. I haven't polished it yet. Angelo gave the majority of these. He personally hand final polished them, gave them a custom polish, and he also sharpened the blade. So, and also they've got certificates, but there are a few that I have that don't have certificates. This blade is unsharpened. That's a good thing. I prefer to have them sharpened, but at the same time, collectors, in fact, he told me, he said, you could either have it sharpened or unsharpened. I said, what do you mean unsharpened? He said, well, collectors would rather have them unsharpened. I didn't understand that, and I told him, no, please, sharpen them for me. And he said, oh, no problem. And then I said, well, and while you're at it, could you give them a real high buff? And he said, yeah. And I worked with him on this series to get as many as I could, and he was very good to work with. There were some hiccups along the way, but he came through. And AGA Campolin Switchblades are beautiful. I mean, they're absolutely magnificent. This is Ebonywood as well. Button sticking issues, I don't know what people mean. I just don't get it. I do get it on the Denivus, because I have a Denivus that did have an issue. It was an environmental issue. I'm not Bill Shivs, I'm not, Roger, I'm not, Arlen Walker, I'm not, I'm not a guy who, builds switchblades. They understand the mechanics of them a lot more than I do. I'm an idiot when it comes to these things. I collect them, I enjoy them, and, I know a limited amount of knowledge about switchblades. The switchblades that I own, I do know quite a bit about, just because if you're going to buy something, it doesn't matter what you're going to buy. You're going to want. This is another Ebonywood. You're going to want to know about them, and you're going to want to do research. This one's a dark horn. Boy, I'm so glad to get these in. These are just beautiful. 15 of them. I never would have dreamed. But some people have had button issues with theirs, and some people have had firing issues. I think those are just related. Maybe I'm just one lucky dog, I don't know. But I think that they're related to the oil that is actually shipped on them, and they need to clean them. But I could be wrong. I could be wrong. I don't. If somebody says there's Abstech, he owns, I think he owns a lot of Batwings. There's few people in the United States that own, over 4. In fact, very few. I am lucky enough to, and was crazy enough about these, to buy. I've got the biggest collection of Batwings, Batwing swings in the world now. But this one's a crisp blade. Beautiful stag. They fire very hard. Well, that's limp wristed. See, you can't limp wrist them. And with stag, they can't really get the button exactly close. So, with the nature of the stag, there's a rise on here. You've got to push it like you mean it. There's even burned switchblades will open half-cocked if you don't push them in all the way. Push that blade in all the way, it'll fire right every time. But, it's just the nature of the beast, Flush button releases, you've got to fully depress it. If you don't fully depress it, and to fully depress it, you've got to hold it firmly. And that's another thing about the Batswings. I don't know if a lot of people, when they get them, if their thumbs are hitting like this, and they're hitting them at half cock, or not. But I'm betting that they are. You have to have experience with a blade like this, piece like this, to actually understand how to fire it, and what you've got to have a feel for it, and it's all in how you use it. And it's all in how it works. Now, a button release that would be on a scale that would be risen, over the scale, they're easy, they're no-brainers. But the flush button releases need to be pushed all the way down. Now, sometimes your fingers, with these kind of cuts, sometimes your fingers, if somebody opens it like this, you've got to know exactly, know your weapon. It's just that simple. Know your weapon. And, these blades, they're collector pieces. They're not weapons. But at the same time, I could see that, quite a few people, this is just beautiful. I love the light horn on them. And I wouldn't mind getting one more, but they're gone. Getting any more of these is going to be really difficult, but and I'm pretty much just I'm happy with the ones I've got. I'm so lucky to have them, and I've met some really good people along the way, and see, really good people along the way. The stags will half cock sometimes. The reason they half cock is because you can't limp wrist them. And also the raised pieces here, there's a lot to get in the way. So you've got to know where your button is. If you've only got one stag switchblade and it's a flush button Batwing, well, you know, operate it several times. I mean, operate it more than several times. Know where that is. Because if you don't, and I haven't used this one in a while, but if you don't, it's not going to open correctly because your finger's going to get, you know, your finger can get down here. You know, it's hard to find the flush button on here sometimes. You know, that's just the nature of the blade. Flush button on stags are difficult to actually, you know, actually reach in and get. It's just, it shouldn't be difficult, but these things are 13 inches long. They're big knives. And, you know, I mean, you've just got to fully depress that every time. If you don't, it's not gonna fully engage. It's just as simple as that. But that said, there's nothing wrong with these knives. You know, I mean, they fire very, very hard. And, you know, a series like this, you just have to, anything with a flush button, you have to get your finger acclimated to the blade. It's just as simple as that. And if you limp wrist it, and if you don't, especially on stag, if you don't, you know, don't have a feel for where that button is, you know, chances are you're gonna push it like that. That's not fully engaging. You've got to know where to. You've got to take your thumb and you've got to know. I've got a weather cut on my thumb, so it's hard to open anything. I mean, it hurts every time I push in on the buttons, but it's just a weather cut. But on these knives, you've just got to know them. If you think that there's a problem with any swing that has a flush button on it, chances are it's operator error. Now, you know, I could be wrong. I'm just lucky, I think. But this is the Ebonywood. Oh, I just love Ebony. And Ebony is very, very beautiful. Fires so hard. All of these fire very hard. You've just that's the main thing, is to know your weapon. You know your knife. Know whatever you have. Know what you're doing with it. Know how to fully engage that button. And button sticking, I don't know. Maybe I'm just very, very lucky, but I haven't had that problem with Batwings. If it is, it's an environmental problem. Keep them stored open, and you shouldn't have a problem. But these stags are just beautiful. I didn't know if I liked stag that much, but I'm crazy about it. I think it's just beautiful. You know, and a flush button is kind of difficult. You know, it is kind of difficult to get to that button sometimes. Sometimes I'll use this finger here, you know, and I mean, you know, it's just the rise in here. It's kind of hard to get your thumb right there because of the cuts. You know, these cuts they're very intricate. And yeah, if you've got a button on the that rises above the scale, then you're halfway. You know, the battle. That's not a battle, but a flush button, you've got to actually know how to use these knives. And once you do, you know, you won't have a problem. But if you limp wrist it, you know, if you fire it, you know, light, you know, it's just not gonna fully engage. So push it all the way in and do it like you mean it. And I mean, these things will fire every time, you know, and if you don't, it's operator error. I just, you know, I fully believe that. I wouldn't have 15 Batswings if I didn't actually absolutely, you know, 100% believe that. And it's come to be true. You know, it's just, oh, well, you know, I mean, I didn't fire it all, or I didn't press all the way, or my finger got stuck or something. You know, I mean, it's usually with a flush button release, they're a little harder knives to operate. They just simply are. But you know, before you send it out, you know, if it's a button sticking issue, I've been very lucky. I've been very fortunate. If it's a button sticking issue, that's You know, that's a problem that I had with the Denevus. I worked on it. You know, I was able to repair it and do it without damaging the knife. And that was, you know, it was scary at first. It was a drag when the button stuck, but it actually turned out, I think, to be environmental. I think the extreme heat, well, not extreme, extreme cold, and when I say extreme, I just mean in the wintertime. You know, in the wintertime, just keep them in a warm environment. Store them open, get them out, use them. Use Latama quick release. You know, if they open at 3/4, it's either operator error or it's probably you need to clean the knife. But these things are just beautiful. I'm so glad to get 15 of them. Golly, you know, I mean, out of all the knives that Rizzies are what I always loved, and I love the design. Well, these things are so much better. They're just so much freaking better, you know. The guards and everything. You've seen them on the other knives. John, Crit, Raj, you know, all the guys. I hope you're doing well, and you know, hope everything's going good for you. And John, thanks for the words that you wrote on the last video, and I hope you're doing well. I know that, man, if you want to see a guy's collection, John 6553, oh man, that guy's got a collection that would just blow your mind. But you know, these are my humble little bats, and I'm just so glad to get these in, and to have 5 in Ebonywood. Those are the 5 of the production run, to own all 5 of them. Gee, my knee. I never thought that would happen, but I'm so glad it did. Anyway, guys, like I said, watch how you know, if you've got flush button switchblades, watch how you fire them. Get to know how to fire them. And, you know, don't automatically assume that it's a problem with the knife when it's probably a problem with your thumb. You know, it's just that simple. These are just beautiful, beautiful pieces. They're gothic looking. They're heavy. They're wicked. They fire so hard. And man, I tell you, they're just beautiful. And with button issues, you know, maybe I've just been very lucky, but at 15 of them, I don't think so. You know, I think it's environmental. But then again, you know, I mean, everybody is different, and, you know, I'm sure just like with cars, I'm sure everybody, you know, all the manufacturers will occasionally, you know, screw one up. But it's nothing that can't be fixed, I know that. You know, I mean, there's so many talented guys that can work on these knives, but oh yeah, these all work. They fire hard. They look good. And man, 15 of them. I'm so happy. Thank you for selling those. Thanks for releasing that last Ebonywood to me. Man, such a beautiful knife. And the dark horn and the Ebonywood, it's kind of hard to tell the difference from a distance. Anyway, guys, take it easy. And yeah, if you see a Batswinger, you better grab it, because they're not going to be around. And if I'm around, chances are they're not going to be around if I can get it, you know, get it quickly. But I'm happy with the ones I have. You know, I've got, you know, 4 in Stag, 1 in Ambelina, 2 in Lighthorn, French Bovine, 5 in Ebonywood, and 3 in Darkhorn. You know, that's a damn good collection. And that's actually, these have the Ambelina, and let's see, the Ambelina, and I believe one of the Ebonywoods. No, the Lighthorn, the French Bovine. Those have bayonet blades. I wanted to get one of each piece in the series, and I never thought I'd done all the Ebonywoods. But yeah, so cool. Good package today. Anyway, guys, later on, I hope everybody's doing well. Take it easy. Oh, and if you think the video is too long, shoot one. you know, upload it, shoot it, and then, you know, then deal with people bitching about it. I really don't care. I'm not good at shooting videos, and I do my best. But most of the people who bitch about videos, they're lucky that, you know, there's even anything on YouTube to watch. But just do the best you can with them and upload. If anybody's got switchblades, upload. Take it easy, guys. Later on.